In the final stretch of her campaign, Vice President Kamala Harris has been focusing on a few different themes and sort of couching this election a little bit differently depending on the audience and the speech that she's giving. And those themes have been the positive vision rather than the apocalyptic vision from Trump. The idea that she would be president for everybody, even if you don't vote for her, versus Trump saying he might deploy the military against Kamala Harris supporters. But number three, and very interestingly, she is also on Trump is unstable, Trump is unfit. I would gladly challenge him to a cognitive test. And I think that this is smart, not as the primary topic of your campaign, but as a, by the way, he's deteriorating and I'm not sort of thing. And yesterday in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which, by the way, we did a poll of our audience, the results of which we will have on the show, and asked in which state should she be focusing. The vast majority of my audience said she should be focusing on Pennsylvania. I think it makes sense mathematically. Pennsylvania, as an individual state, one of the most likely to decide who gets to 270 electoral votes. In Harrisburg, Pennsylvania yesterday, Kamala Harris saying Trump is unstable, he's obsessed with revenge, making the case that he simply has no business going anywhere near the Oval Office again.
We know who Donald Trump is, right? So this is someone who is not thinking about how to make your life better. This is someone who is unstable.
Yes.
Obsessed with revenge.
True.
Consumed with grievance. And out for unchecked power. And look, in less than 90 days, either he or I will be in the Oval Office.
Right. These rallies, by the way, the energy at these rallies is wild, and it's palpably different than what you see at a Trump rally. At a Trump rally, the crowd gets most sort of energized, as we said earlier, when Trump says something about trans people. At a Harris rally, the crowd gets most energized at the possibility of participating in our democratic system in order to preserve democracy and make Kamala Harris the next president. It is a palpably different energy, and we will see whether that translates into a victory. Kamala Harris also, at this very same event in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania yesterday, says that it is together that we are going to achieve what we want to achieve. A very different message than what you've been hearing from Trump.
And we know we have an opportunity in this election to turn the page on a decade of Donald Trump trying to keep us divided and afraid of each other. That is who he is, but Pennsylvania, that is not who we are. And I know plenty of folks are just exhausted with it all and know that it is time to stop pointing fingers and to start locking arms. It is time. It is time for a new generation of leadership in America.
The focus on Pennsylvania makes a lot of sense. If you said to me today, David, who do you think wins Pennsylvania? I have no idea. The polling is a coin flip. If you want to tell yourself that Trump's got it, you can find evidence that that's the case by looking at voter registration data. On the other hand, if you want to find evidence that Kamala Harris has got Pennsylvania in the bag, you can do that as well by looking at early voter data. I think the dynamics of this election are so different than 2020, and the polling is so close. Anybody who's telling you they have certainty on Pennsylvania is just doing it for the clicks. I don't think it's possible to know, but what I can tell you is if you're phone banking, if you're door knocking, there is probably no better place to do it than Pennsylvania in these final 4.5 days until the election. From Saudi blood money to shady crypto schemes, we shouldn't overlook any of Trump's scandals. Trump barely understands the concept of crypto himself, in the past having called it a scam. And now Trump conveniently found his way into one of the least regulated markets on the planet. Using the platform Ground News, I can see even Fox News isn't sold on this. Their headline says, Trump crypto venture unveiling stirs skepticism. Our longtime sponsor, Ground News, compiles news sources for each story into one place so you can make up your own mind instead of being limited by the loudest and most biased opinions around you. Ground News breaks down the ownership and biases influencing each source's reporting so you can sort out for yourself what the truth is. So while Trump's fans keep rallying around the idea that he's a self-made billionaire with America's best interests at heart, you can follow Trump on Ground News and see all the ways that his family exploits public office for personal gain. Go to ground.news/Pacman now to get 40% off of the same unlimited access Vantage plan that I use. The link is in the description.